I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Did it die, yeah. Did it die. Did it die. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Did it die. Wait. Did it die. Wait. Did it die. Whatever you want, I'll be whatever you want. Just tell me you love me or not, whatever it costs. I know I'm talking a lot, there's something I gotta get off. Don't wanna be this no more, I don't wanna drink no more. Always gotta do the most, thinking that I'm insecure. Really should've listened more, but I don't, of course. I'm an asshole, I'm a good guy, I'm your best friend, I'm the worst type. Tell you everything that you heard right, just so I can fuck on the first night. Feel like I'm losing hope, running from coast to coast. I don't know where to go, this all I've ever known. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Won't die. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? My aunt think I'm perfect, I know I'm not. My mama be worried, I told her stop. They know I did drugs and think that I'm off. Little do they know I never could stop. My manager hate when I'm pulling up late. Back on my bullshit, she think it's a phase. I got relations I gotta maintain. I'm two different people, my side and my main. Yeah, I'm sober, I'm an addict, I'm a lowlife, I got habits, but I refuse to be average. Really so tired of acting, don't know what I miss no more. Too bad you don't hit me more. I'm bad when I get too bored, careful what you wishing for. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold.
Well, hell. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the lounge. It's the VIP lounge. Pull up a chair, grab a drink. Let's talk, shall we? Unbelievable couple of days in the world of professional wrestling. Okay. So, the pop heard around the world. I was going to do this on Friday, and I just wanted to let it all kind of marinate in a little bit and just absorb all that. But who knew? I'll tell you right now, on Friday I was basically telling the WWE that they might want to go on top of that tower at Stanford and raise the white flag instead of the WWE logo flag, because it was over. but should have known better. Corey Andrews, how the heck are you, buddy? Yeah, the pop for CM Punk was huge, yet probably not quite as huge as Brock Lesnar's. Now, if we're going to be fair, there was like 58,000 people versus about 16,000 or 18,000, so that automatically is going to make a difference. Plus, you're talking about an outdoor stadium versus an arena with acoustics. Not here to nitpick over who got a louder pop. This is exactly what wrestling needed. The AEW has come to play, and they kicked Vince in the balls. And now, the WWE, whether it's Vince or anyone that buys it, if they want to have a product, they are going to have to compete. And they're going to have to give a shit about what the fans say. Because that's what the AEW has done. That's the one thing they have done. They've listened to the fans. Maybe a little too much. Or maybe the fact that half the guys in the locker room are also fans, so we kind of have the inmates running the asylum. But when they're bringing in Bryan Danielson, when they're bringing in CM Punk, when they're bringing in most likely Wyndham Rotunda, they're bringing in the people the fans want, and they're giving them a platform to do what they always wanted them to do, meaning the fans. So now you're going to start seeing guys looking in a different way than they looked in a more familiar environment, but that's good because we weren't really happy with the way they were being portrayed. So let's talk about, there were three major pops, and I mean big time newsworthy events in wrestling. And the best thing about all of this, not just the competitive nature that it's going to stir up, and not the fact that the WWE is going to have to start amping up their game, but also the fact that now they've got to put out a better product than they have been because there is a new kid on the block that's going to take their lunch money if they don't. And that's good for us. But the other good thing is now we actually have wrestling that's watchable again, and it's been a long time. And when better than now to have something to distract? I mean, the world we live in right now, I'm happy that there's actually wrestling to deter me a little bit from just focusing on the BS that is this world we're living in. Corey, I'm doing great, buddy. Thank you for asking. And I trust you are doing well as well. Hey, you're here in the lounge. You got to be doing good. Pull up a chair. Like I said, we got some snacks in the back of the room there. And let's talk about what the heck, man. So the first pop started on Friday night. CM Punk, the worst kept secret in wrestling, makes his debut. I thought they were going to tease it out to the end of the show and he'd make some last-minute appearance. But that's the way it's always done. Here's where I give AEW credit. They don't do it the way it's always been done. It couldn't have been done better than it was. I thought, they started announcing the card at the beginning of the show, and I figured we're going to go into an opening contest or something like that. And then they just stopped talking. Once they've announced everything that's coming up tonight and this and that, then they just got quiet. And this crowd was already in full voice. And I could tell by the fact that they let it go for 10 or 15 seconds is, oh shit, they're going to do this now, aren't they? And man, when that static hit and the first chords ripped, you knew it was on, man. That place popped. I don't know. I instantly was thinking, what can I even come close to likening this to in wrestling history that I've ever seen or experienced? I can only tell you that one time way back in the day, this would have probably been right around, 87-ish. Hulk Hogan was headlining a WWF event here in Orlando at the Orange County Civic Center. And when he came out, and if I had to guesstimate now, there could have been maybe somewhere between 6,000 to 8,000 in that. It's a smaller arena setting. The sound, the decibel level that the crowd made when he came out was physically painful. My ears hurt to the point where I thought my eardrums were going to rupture. Again, small venue, big acoustics, not a huge crowd, but the sound, it was just enormous. So far as watching it on TV, I think about The Rock and Hogan. That was a pretty big popping crowd there. There's been a few, but honestly, when Punk came out, to me, it just wiped all the other ones out. It's like there's a new benchmark having been set. What an entrance. I mean, he comes down, he just stops on his knees for a few minutes and takes it in, and you can see that it's emotional. It's emotional for him, it's emotional for the fans. And you know we're about to have a real CM Punk moment here. Does something I couldn't believe he did. He basically goes to surf the crowd, dives into the crowd. Now, that didn't surprise me. He did it. Didn't surprise me they caught him. Didn't surprise me that he got out okay. Just that we're in a COVID world right now, and I would think that they would be frowning on the talent, touching hands and everything with the fans like they usually would. That said, we'll kind of come back to this later on. I saw it throughout the weekend. So anyway, he dives into the crowd. They send him back in and goes into the ring and cuts the promo we were all waiting for and finishes it up with some free ice cream. So that's about as good as that can go. It was a great promo. He touched on a lot of little things. I think one of the things that people maybe didn't catch, or maybe I'm just reading more into it than really was there, but when he was mentioning the fact that, listen, I want to talk about something real quick to all the fans that are here, the people that are in the back, people watching on TV. If I've made life choices that you weren't happy with, try to understand, and then I'll understand where you're coming from. I think part of that, he was directing probably at Colt Cabana, because they're going to have to work in a locker room together, and we all know, I think we all know, if not, spoiler alert, there's a lot of real heat between them. They were very good friends for a long time. This whole lawsuit with the WWE went down, and the story goes that CM Punk allegedly promised to take care of all the legal costs for Colt Cabana to come in and be a second witness. Then when it was all said and done, he didn't do that, so Colt was on the hook for the legal fees. Not a happy camper because of that. I don't know what agreement they may or may not have had, but that's the story. Sounds feasible. All that said, I think that was part of what he was referring to in that little statement. I haven't heard anybody else bring that part out yet, but anyway, as big as that was, as emotional as that was, as long awaited as that was, then we go to SummerSlam, and I have mediocre expectations on SummerSlam to begin with. I definitely said I'm not going to watch the first hour at all because I guarantee you there's nothing there I want to see. And now with the network being on Peacock, you don't have that ability to fast forward a live stream, in the sense that all right, so let me make sense of that. If I'm joining an 8 o'clock start feed at 10 o'clock, I can't go back to 8 o'clock and then start fast forwarding through the stuff I don't want to see until the next day when it's up. So I decided I was just going to skip on the first hour and a half, 2 hours, which was the right thing to do because I did watch it this morning and fast forwarded through almost all of it. The AJ tag team match, couldn't care less about that. I will never watch anything that has a guy in it that says, bro. Not going to watch that. That guy does nothing for me at all. I just find him annoying as all hell. I don't think there was anything of consequence to me until we get to the first big pop of the night. And that is Bianca Belair goes in the ring, and there'd been a lot of hype that Sasha Banks and her had to cancel shows or matches at shows that were booked, and they just kept on saying for undisclosed reasons, which I think we can translate probably to COVID. I have a funny feeling that Sasha tested positive, which means, yeah, you'll miss a couple of weeks until you get those negative tests. That's a 14-day stint. So that's what makes the most sense to me, which is, again, why I was surprised that all these performers were coming down to the ring and they were slapping hands with the fans down along the rail and stuff like that, and I didn't think for a chance in hell that they would be allowed to do that. So even the WWE wrestlers are doing the same thing. So they tell you that she's not going to be here, but here's our substitute, Carmella, which is exactly what nobody wanted to see. Carmella comes out to the ring, does her little booty shake, gets in the ring, gets ready for the match, and then all of a sudden, the pop. Becky Lynch is back. I have to admit, I was real happy to see her, and we can pretty much figure out at this moment it's either going to be a triple threat or she's just going to kick the crap out of Carmella. Well, it turned out to be the second one. And I was cool with that because I never liked title matches being triple threat. I've always wanted to be a one-on-one. So she gets Carmella outside the ring, whoops the crap out of her. Okay, now she's in the ring and say, hey, you and I thought they botched that up. She had the mic. I said, here we go. We're going to do this. And she didn't. What she should have done is said, you are holding the title that I've never lost. Although she had the Raw title, though, didn't she? Either way. I'm an uncrowned champion. I had to give my title up. I never lost it. That is the angle I would have come at it with. And you have no opponent now. So what do you say that champion versus champion or uncrowned champion versus champion, and then you've got something to build on. That right there would have done it for me. They didn't do that. It was just about, how about the EST versus the man? It's like, yeah, but why? There was no why. That said, I still wanted to see it. What takes place next? Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen or heard, a squash. I don't know if there's a reason that it had to be that way other than the fact that they'd already burned up 15 minutes of nothing, doing nothing. It should have been at least a 10-minute match, for the love of God. I'm not a Bianca fan personally. I'm not into the long hair, using it as a whip. I just think that's stupid. But nonetheless, you've built her up all this time, and you're just going to squash her to the lady who hasn't been in a ring in a year. I don't know. But anyway, the pop she got when she came out, her music hit, it was enormous. It was right up there in the Punkville. I don't think too many people are happy with the way the match went, though. And that might end up coming back to bite her. Not through her fault. I mean, that's what they told her is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. But I think they actually... The WWE has this incredible ability to get the exact opposite result of the one that they thought they were going to get going into an angle. I mean, how many years of Roman Reigns being a babyface that failed before they finally turned him heel? They can't get out of their own way when it comes to that writing team. And I feel like I'm insulting true writers by referring to them as a writing team because they're horrible. So you have that. A squash match that lasted, I think, 27 seconds or something like that from what I heard. Not good for Bianca. Not good for Becky. I think that you're going to see a backlash from the fans. And she's going to end up having to go heel, which is terrible, man. She left because she's going to be a mom. There's no reason she has to be a heel. Now, turning Bianca heel, that's fine, but here's the problem. I think more people are going to side with her for doing it. It's like, yeah, she should be pissed off. She should be kicking her ass and jumping her and stuff, which is probably what's going to happen now. Well, that was pop number 2 for a, 24-hour period. Then we get the John Cena match, and I'll tell you what, just during the introductions, I'm looking, and for the first time, John Cena doesn't quite look the same. He starts to show his age, especially his neck. I mean, he had that thick neck, and he's still ripped. Don't get me wrong, the guy's in great shape, but his neck looked a little bit more normal and not quite as thick and beefy as usual. And it's just, you start to see signs of wrestlers starting to lose their bulk, and I just felt like I saw the first time for him in that scenario. That all said, he didn't look so big compared to Roman Reigns. Match was kind of flat for me. I just couldn't get into it, but I'm paying attention best I can. It's getting near midnight. I'm falling asleep practically, and they weren't helping me stay awake. So a little time goes by, a couple of big false finishes, and then all of a sudden Roman wins. Then he's standing over Cena, which I thought that was not cool. I'm sure it was all rehearsed ahead of time. I'm sure it was all talked about. didn't like it. I just thought, for all Cena has done for the company, and then you look at all the talent that has walked out of there simply because of how they were treated as veterans, that former flag bearers, the Mark Henrys, the Big Shows, things like that. You really want to piss off John Cena? And again, I'm sure he agreed to it. I just thought it was a bad optic. So here he is standing over Cena, literally straddling him, holding the title up, getting ready to do the "you can't see me" thing to Cena, when all of a sudden, that first chord of Brock Lesnar's music hits, and that pop, legit. I mean, again, not taking anything away from any of the others of the weekend, because there were some good pops this week. But there was nothing. That Brock coming back as a babyface, holy shit. This is going to be interesting. But now, guess what? The WWE is suddenly watchable again. At least some of it will be. They're always going to have their trash in there. But then again, AEW has their share of stuff, too, that's not so great. That said, I'll tell you what, it's a good time for wrestling right now. There's so much competition now. There's a legitimate pissing contest taking place. And while Tony Khan might not have the deepest pockets in the world, not that they're deeper than ours are, I'm sure, definitely mine, he's not going to match Vince McMahon's trust fund quite yet. He still has enough to get big name talent. And he will, and he has, and he's continuing to do so. So Vince is going to have to start, and whoever runs the WWE after Vince, because Vince is definitely on his way out based on age, and the fact that they're now not hiding the fact that, yeah, we could be for sale. Well, you don't say that unless you're for sale. So the question is, who's going to buy the WWE? Obviously, somebody with really deep pockets, and then it's got to be somebody who hopefully would have an understanding of the business. Because if you get somebody... Well, look what happened when Hurd took over WCW with no knowledge of wrestling. It was a bad move, to say the least. And I think that would definitely be something the WWE stockholders would be afraid of if that were to happen again. And history repeated itself, and all of a sudden some no-name guy who doesn't understand the business just has deep pockets and thinks he's going to buy an entertainment company. But we'll see. Time will tell on that. In the meantime, to make it profitable, to make it appealing to a sale, Vince has got to up the game. He's got no choice. And I guarantee you, the stories are pretty well told by many people in the industry that Vince really doesn't pay attention to what the other guys' shows are doing. Didn't watch WCW in the day, doesn't pay attention to AEW. Maybe that's true. But I got a funny feeling if he didn't watch Friday night when it happened, SmackDown was going off at the time it went on, I guarantee you somebody sent him a text saying, boss, you really need to take a look at this. There's no way he can ignore this one. He can't ignore this one. So anyway, 3 big pops, 3 big events that took place. The arrival of CM Punk. And by the way, Rampage, 2 weeks in a row, is kicking ass. So far, I mean, and one of the reasons I think there is for that is because it's only 1 hour. All these wrestling shows, 2, 3, 4. How many hours was last night? 4 hours. Too damn much. And that's for us watching it on TV. Those poor people in the stands in that stadium, they were probably there at 4 in the afternoon. It's too much. You got to scale it back. But that said, I think that's why Rampage is so more palatable, because you're only putting your best up there. And you're having these mega moments. It's going to be great to have CM Punk back. He's got the pay-per-view match against Darby Allin. I might actually break down and get an AEW pay-per-view. Not because I can't wait till the next day to see it free, but because I'd actually want to support what they're doing now, where I definitely did not want to in the past. So we'll see. I'm not saying I already got the NWA pay-per-views this next weekend coming up as it is, and that's $40 out the door there. And that might be my last for them in a while. I don't know. I just haven't felt that their product is where it was prior to COVID, and I don't feel like they've gotten back to where they were. But that all said, they're not going to have a pop problem like this to deal with. So, all right, guys. Well, it was a spur of the moment VIP lounge. I'll probably get more comments afterwards than we got in here today, but that's okay. Corey, thank you for dropping by, my friend. And for anyone who's watching this after the fact, by all means, let me know what you thought about the events that took place over the last 24 plus hours. Which pop was the biggest one for you? Which one are you happiest about? What do you think about Brock coming back as a babyface? I don't know. Have we ever had him as a babyface? I don't think so. He's always pretty much been the heel. So, and I don't think he's gonna like. Here's the thing: I don't think Brock's gonna be a fan of being a babyface. I think he just likes being a heel because he's not a hugging babies and signing autographs kind of guy. But we'll see as time goes by, right? All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I got to cut out from the lounge right now. You don't got to go home, but we got to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? All right. We'll be back with some more stuff here on the Nation Network in the very near future. In the meantime, take care, be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next time that we are here in the VIP lounge.